So today's topic is on serving premium clients with confidence. If you guys have ever worked with a low quality client, and feel free to let me know in the chat if you have any nightmare stories you want to share, how freaking draining that is, right? Because when you're over here, you care so much about your work, you care so much about your clients, you're working your booty off for somebody, and if you're feeling undervalued, unappreciated, they're not fully trusting your process, it sucks. It's like, this is not why I became my own boss. This is not why I started my business. And you know what it feels like to have to try and pull teeth to get them to put in their side of the work, make actual decisions, get approvals, drag their feet, or even, I hate even saying that this is a thing that happens in the world, but there's even clients that don't pay you on time or don't pay you at all. Luckily, I haven't really had to deal with that, but I have worked with people who have, and it's atrocious, right? So if you felt that way, I know exactly how you feel. I was in the same position when I first started my business more than 4 years ago. I was hustling to make ends meet for clients who were not fun to work with, who threatened not to pay me, even though they said my help was life-changing, and who never seemed to feel satisfied no matter how hard I worked for them. So I transitioned from that to working with only high caliber clients who show up excited to work with me, trust my process, tell me on every call how much they appreciate and value me. They're excited to pay me in full. I've had clients who, like, I don't even bring up raising my rates, and they're like, I need to get you a raise. So I love my clients, and I love helping my clients that I coach make the transition into working with premium clients, because there is just nothing like the joy of having your pick of dream projects, waking up excited to work with your clients every day, having them pay you well so that you have the time and energy to devote to yourself and reinvest in your own business. The whole point of being your own boss is being able to love the work that you do, have the total freedom to decide how you work, who you work with, where you work, plus all the time and money to make your dream life a reality. And I believe that a huge piece of that is working with premium clients. As my own boss, I've worked with clients like Amazon, Slack, Facebook, the World Bank, EU-funded EIT Health, CEOs of $60 million companies, contracts worth up to $145,000. I've worked with so many high caliber entrepreneurs just like you guys, and I love advising them on how to navigate serving their clients and upgrading their client roster. So odds are there is not a client situation I haven't tackled or advised my clients on. And a lot of coaches are just going to teach you about how to get the clients. But I wanted to start our accelerator with talking about how to serve premium clients with confidence, because once you've got the clients, you want to know how to have that great relationship, how to keep them happy, and what that's going to look like for you. Because there's a big difference between how you serve the $500 client versus the $50K client and how they expect to be treated. You want to be able to feel really confident in your ability to give premium clients a great experience, so they send even more high caliber clients your way. We're going to spend a lot of time in the program on how to attract premium clients, how to get them to sign up with you. But at the end of the day, attracting the clients doesn't matter if you can't give them a really great experience working with you, right? We want all your clients to leave as brand advocates for you. Y'all will know what I mean if you've already watched that module in the VIP hub. You want them to be dazzled, adore you, give you a glowing testimonial, and recommend you to all of their friends, right? So if you follow the guidelines I'm gonna give you today, you're gonna be exciting and delighting your clients. They're gonna wanna re-sign with you. They're gonna wanna give you great testimonials, and they're gonna be sending lots of high quality leads your way. So grab your pen, your journal, your Google Doc, take some notes. We've got a lot of gems in here today. Okay, let me just take some sparkling water. I'm like so jazzed, I can't even contain myself. So a few mistakes, first of all, that you want to avoid when working with premium clients that are going to lose you trust and credibility. So the first thing is not treating them as premium clients and not holding them to that standard. This is going to really blow your mind. Inside of most people, there is a premium client. The same person that ghosts you and refuses to pay you can be the same person who would pay you in full and show up to every call with you, excited, ready, taking notes. Your job is to see the premium client inside of everyone and speak to that person, both in your marketing and once you're working with that person. Your job is to believe that your client is capable of the highest transformation and that you can help them get there. Your job is to hold them to that highest standard because you believe the best is possible for them. So, for example, with all of you, I'm over here rooting for each and every one of you, celebrating the heck out of you, knowing your success is inevitable, and just being honored to be part of your journey. I believe you're going to make the most of this program and that you're going to go all out, show up to every call, do all the homework, get all the premium clients. I'm not over here thinking like so-and-so isn't ready for this, like she might not be able to hack it, but I guess I'll do my best to help her and we'll see what happens. If I had thought that, I would not have let you in the program, right? But I don't think that about my clients and the people that I work with. I know you guys are the best. And I would have no business being a coach and working with people like you, right? So if you're having clients show up in a way that you don't like, I want you to think about your expectations of that client. Are you expecting them to treat you badly? Are you expecting them to perform poorly? Are you expecting them to want too much for too little? Because often we get what we expect and we subconsciously or consciously create our own reality. So if you start expecting more, if you start believing your clients are capable of more, and you start treating your clients accordingly, you are gonna get more from them. It's a lot like dating. Your one night stand might go on to marry the next person they meet, right? But if you don't expect more from people and hold them to our standard, we're never gonna get what we want, right? Let me know if this is resonating with you guys, and please feel free to drop any comments, any questions in the chat and in the Slack. Queens crowning queens vibes. I love it. Okay, next mistake I see, not being the kind of client you want. So if you're getting clients that aren't the high caliber of client that you want, it's also important to look at yourself. The kinds of clients you attract and the way your clients show up is a reflection of your belief in yourself, the kind of client you feel like you're worthy of serving, and how you feel about your own services and how you show up for yourself and your business. So if your clients aren't showing up in the way that you want, they're not showing up prepared, they're not getting back to you by deadlines, they're not thanking you for your hard work, I want you to think about the ways you might be doing those things in your personal life and in your own business, and think about the people that you're working with. Where and how are you not showing up for yourself and your business? Where are you failing to hold yourself to a high standard? Like, did you tell yourself you were gonna get 5 more clients this month, but you didn't do anything to make that happen? Like, you didn't reach out to anyone, you didn't follow up with any leads, you didn't put anything out there, where are we letting ourselves down? When was the last time you thanked your mentors and your support system and your contractors for their hard work? Are you missing deadlines that you set for yourself and your business? If so, start fixing those things first. Start fixing the way you show up for yourself and in your business, and you'll see the changes reflected in how your clients show up too. Let me know if this is resonating and if we're taking some hard looks at ourselves. And it's okay if you are. Like, we've all done this. We've all said, I'm gonna do like a live masterclass every month and then been like, oh man, I have way too much going on, and then failed to do that, right? Like, it totally happens. Okay, mistake number 3, not setting and upholding boundaries. So sometimes I have coaching clients who complain about how their clients treat them. And they're like, they expect me to answer emails at 8 p.m. or on the weekend. Like, they want to go outside the scope and not pay for it. Or like, they haven't paid me yet. Y'all decide how your clients treat you. Y'all decide what you're available for. Being your own boss is about creating the business that you want. Like, if you only want to answer emails Tuesdays and Thursdays, you get to decide that. You get to design the business that you want. No one can treat you badly without your permission. So it is on you to decide what your boundaries are, both in your personal life and in your business, to set them very clearly and then lovingly uphold them. So we're gonna chat a bit more about how to do that in the next part of the training. But for now, I'll say that you're not a victim, right? You are the boss. You have agency. You get to decide how your clients treat you. So for example, with all of you, I know you guys are all premium clients and that you're gonna take ownership and responsibility for yourselves and for your results. I know you're gonna watch all the onboarding materials and do everything you can to make the most of this program. I'm not gonna be like babying you and sending you reminders about every call, right? That's on you. I've said very clearly in multiple places, coaching is gonna be on the live calls, not in Slack. So if that happens, I'm just gonna gently redirect you to the guidelines and ask you to ask your question on the next call. My clients love seeing me model healthy boundaries in my business, and it empowers them to do the same thing, right? If your clients aren't willing or able to respect your boundaries, you can give them the opportunity to rise to meet your standards, or you can decide that they're not your clients anymore, right? It's a two-way street. Saying no to things that aren't serving you makes room for you to call in the clients that you truly want. So never forget that you have the power to walk away. It's like being in a relationship. Like, I just love this analogy, you know? We might be afraid we're never gonna find someone else that loves us, so we're afraid to break up with somebody. But if this person isn't the one, like, why do we wanna stay in a relationship that isn't serving us, right? So don't operate your business out of fear. Focus on your bigger vision and work towards that. And then I also wanted to share a note on what to do if you have a client right now who's not a premium client, maybe because you need to pay the bills or just for whatever reason. Like, I have personally been in this place where I resented some of the clients I was working with, and I just want you to turn it around. I want you to, instead of resenting this client, be grateful for how that client is serving you. If you took them on just to pay the bills, be grateful that that's the purpose that they're serving for you. Know that you are building towards something better. Focus on being in integrity with yourself and showing up how you want to show up, right? Be the best version of yourself, even if you feel like they don't deserve it, okay? Sometimes you might feel like you have to take on projects or clients that aren't your dream client for whatever reason, right? This isn't something that I encourage, because I believe, like I said, you need to say no to things in order to create space for the things that you truly want. It's like sleeping with like Mr. Right now. You're gonna waste a lot of energy with him when what you really want is Mr. Right, and he won't be able to find you because you're busy with Mr. Right now, right? But I understand that reality is reality, and sometimes you need the money. So I encourage you to price your projects accordingly. I have what I call a asshole tax, or a jerk tax, if you don't want to be cursing. For clients you do not want to work with, ask for like an obscene amount of money. So either they don't hire you and you have the time and the space for the clients that you truly want, or they do hire you and you're making so much money that it doesn't matter that you don't enjoy working with them in other ways. So just for an example, I had a client who I had never worked with them before. They found me on LinkedIn. They asked me to do this deliverable. I did it for them. I hated working with them. They were so annoying. I didn't feel respected. They were super annoying. And they reached out to me again and asked me to do the same deliverable, but they kept stalling. And so then they wanted me to do it in like a very short time frame. And so I was like, okay, sure, I'd be happy to do that for 3 times the price of what I charged you last time. And they were like, are you serious? Like, this is the exact same deliverable. Like, you are gonna seriously charge us 3 times the price? And I was like, yes, if you would like this deliverable done in this time frame, this is the price. And they were like, okay. So I got 3 times the amount of money to do literally the exact same thing. So never underestimate your power. Okay, so now that we've talked about a bunch of the mistakes, let's talk about how to serve high quality clients and give them a really premium experience and get them coming back for more and recommending you to all their friends, right? Because this is what we want. So the first thing that's really important is setting expectations. We talked a little bit about treating your clients as premium clients and holding them to a high standard. That starts with setting really clear expectations for how you want them to show up, communicating what you expect from them and how they need to behave to get the most out of working with you. If you're not clear on your expectations for your clients and how they can get the best results working with you, like, get clear on that. Write it down, make that part of your homework. Like, you should be clearly communicating the caliber of client you want and the expectations and standards you have for them throughout your brand positioning, your marketing, your messaging, your sales process, and how you onboard your clients. Your standards should not be a surprise to clients after they hire you. If you create a proposal, a contract, a scope of work before you get hired, make sure you include what your clients should expect and what they should expect to pay if they need something extra. Like ideally that should be built in. Like for example, if you're a web designer, it shouldn't be a surprise to clients once they hire you that they need to be providing their website copy to get their site designed. If they need an extra round of review or miss a deadline, they should already know what the impact will be on the timeline and the budget for the project. The more you can do to proactively communicate upfront, the easier it is going to be to hold clients to that standard. For example, like Sheena, right? Like if at the start of a copywriting project, you email your clients a very clear schedule with dates for when you plan to share copy, how many rounds of review are included, when you need their feedback by, and what happens if they miss a deadline, it's so much easier to enforce those boundaries than if they miss a deadline and you're like, well, shoot, I don't have this written down anywhere. I didn't get this in writing, right? Like Latoya is not on right now, but if each first responder whose child is in her care has signed a contract that clearly states what happens if they're 15 minutes late for a pickup, it's much easier to enforce that standard. So as part of your homework, I want you guys to think about ways clients have not lived up to your desired standards and what part of that is on you and how can you fix that? How can you clearly communicate expectations to them to avoid that? And what are common problems you've had with clients? And what kind of standard can you set to prevent that? So that's going to be super helpful. All right, let me get some more water here. Next thing I want to talk about is the onboarding experience with a client. A big part of setting expectations is the onboarding experience you have. You want to use your positioning, your messaging, your sales process to pre-qualify clients and set expectations. But it's also important to do that once people have signed up to become your client. Once someone signs up to work with you, you want to give them a guided and a beautiful onboarding experience. You want to welcome them in and celebrate them for deciding to work with you. You want to get them really excited about the experience to come, the transformation ahead of them, and the results they're going to get working with you. You want to remind them of what did they actually purchase, what is included in that, what should they expect? What are the roles and responsibilities, both yours and theirs? What are the expectations are of them and how they can get the best results working with you? What they can expect in terms of response times and when and how they should communicate with you? What is going to happen to their timeline and their budget if they don't meet deadlines or if they need more support than what's included? And you want to set these things up clearly up front and in writing so you can easily revisit them if you need to. It could be a contract, a scope of work, a proposal. It could just be an email. It's also great to go over these things in an onboarding call and get verbal agreement for one-on-one clients, but you want to make sure that it's in writing because that's when if you need to follow up on it, right? If we just talk about it verbally, there's no paper trail. So think about the questions that you commonly get from clients too, and that could be turned into like a frequently asked questions page. As part of your homework, I want you guys to map out and go through your own onboarding process. And I want you to think about how does it feel? Like, do you feel motivated and inspired? What things do you maybe want to tweak to make things more inspiring or more clear and set expectations more clearly? Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is infrastructure. In order to give your clients a really good experience, you want to have clear processes, systems, and infrastructure in place to make sure your clients are getting a good experience. You need to stay organized and have a simple, repeatable, standardized, and automated systems and processes because that's going to save you time. You want to spend your time where it's really valuable, in your zone of genius, doing your work. You don't want to be spending it like figuring out all the little back-end logistical details and doing things differently each time, right? Your time is very valuable. So you want to be using your time helping your clients in your field of expertise and being the CEO of your business, right? You don't want to be spending it chasing clients to pay invoices, getting them to sign contracts, scheduling calls, on stuff like that. So let me talk about like the example of you guys joining this program, right? You filled out an application and you scheduled an application call via Calendly, right? I didn't waste any time going back and forth to schedule a call with you. or spend any of my time asking you questions up front to qualify you for the program. I used your application to start filtering if you're the right fit for the program and start setting your expectations. If somebody filled out the application that wasn't a good fit, I canceled their application call, right? You then got automated reminders from Calendly to join the call and prepare, download Zoom, all that stuff. So then on the application call, that's when I determined if you're genuinely the right fit for the program, talked about what to expect, including next steps like getting the contract and signing that before the first call. I already had Stripe and Thrivecart set up so you could pay right there or shortly after. I wasn't chasing down payments, right? As soon as you paid, you automatically got sent the contract to sign and got automated reminders from DocuSign. Like I didn't have to do any of that, and my online business manager set all of that up. And you also got automated emails telling you to set up your VIP Hub account, log into Padilla, reminding you what's included in the program and how it works. You have a whole welcome and onboarding section in Padilla with what's included, how to make the most of the program, what to expect, how to get the best results. So I just get to show up and teach, right? That's what I'm here for. I get to show up and coach. I didn't have to do any of that other stuff. Of course, there's going to be a balance depending on where you're at, right? You want to be set up and have the infrastructure in place to handle a higher volume of premium clients, but you don't want to invest in any paid or complicated infrastructure setup before you've worked with several clients and know what that should really look like and how you want it to really function. So if you don't have a big tech stack, like don't panic. You don't necessarily need a lot of infrastructure set up. Focus first on getting the premium clients and looking at what are the repeatable things, like where can I implement some standardized systems, processes, what would make this easier, what would make this more helpful, right? Where can I waste less of my time on things that are outside of my zone of genius? So I have clients that use Dubsado as a client portal, for example, or use a project management tool like Asana or Notion to stay organized and remind them what to do. As part of your homework, I want you guys to take a look at your infrastructure and think about what processes, what infrastructure, what support you might need or you might want now or in the future to create a simpler and more standardized system that gives your clients a good experience while reducing the amount of time and amount of work on your end that's things outside of your zone of genius, right? If you're earlier on in your business, it's okay to do things manually and use like free software versions, for example. But if you've gotten several repeat clients and are using the same processes for them, I really encourage you to invest in time-saving software and support, even if it's just like a $25 an hour virtual assistant to help tackle things outside of your zone of genius. So definitely don't invest in anything expensive if you haven't yet validated the need or had multiple times this has come up with real clients. But if you have, I encourage you to invest in the kinds of time-saving infrastructure that is going to free up your bandwidth to focus on your zone of genius. So of course, depending on, let me just mute Latoya real quick. Depending on what kinds of the kinds of clients you work with and the size of the company, you may have to adhere to their onboarding processes and systems, right? Instead of you sending them a contract, they're going to be sending you a contract. Instead of you letting them know, you'll have a weekly call and we'll communicate via Slack. They're going to tell you we're going to be using Outlook, we're going to be using Teams, right? Just remember that you have agency and everything is negotiable. So make sure you're reviewing that contract closely and push back on things that don't make sense for you and your business. So gonna take a little breather. Welcome, Latoya. Glad you're able to join. Hi. How was your meeting?
It was faster than I thought.
Well, we're so happy to have you here. I'm gonna finish going through this content on serving premium clients with confidence, and then I'd love for you to introduce yourself to everybody. And I'll, of course, put the recording in Padilla so you can watch everything that you missed. Yay, so happy to have you here. Fantastic. Okay, so we're on number 4 on how we serve premium clients with confidence, and that is leading with confidence. If you want premium clients to see you as an expert and to trust your process, you have to show up as an expert, right? So how do you do that? You need to be really confident in your skills and your offer. You need to be confident that you can help them and you can serve them. You need to have confidence that your process works. So It's natural to have moments of doubt with these things as an entrepreneur. And if you have those moments of doubt, bring them to our calls. I will coach you through them. But when that happens, I want you to go back to the evidence. I want you to go back to the testimonials that past clients have shared with you. I want you to keep a folder of screenshots on your phone and on your desktop where people are giving you compliments and thanking you and giving you a boost, and look at that whenever you need it. Record a little pep talk for yourself when you're in your best energy and things are going really well. And if you're down, like, go back and listen to that. But think about the results you've gotten for people. You need to know that you are really good at what you do, but like, you don't have to be the best in the world. There are a million business coaches out there, and you guys are here with me right now. Like, I know I'm pretty damn good, but am I the best in the world? Like, who knows, you know? But you're here with me because what I said and my approach resonated with you. So I want you guys to develop your signature approach. You want to find the things that make you distinct, and you want to focus your time in that, in your zone of genius, and always be improving your craft. Being here right now, joining this program, that's a major investment in that. You also need to not just exude confidence in yourself and your skills and how you can help your clients. You need to be able to confidently lead them through your signature process and through your approach and through your sales process. So you don't need to make up anything crazy, but you probably have a method or an approach for how you work with clients. So just map that out, like, give it a name, like, map out the steps. Like, that's your signature process. It doesn't have to be anything crazy or revolutionary, but it exists. So you want to map it out, you want to name it, and you want to be able to talk about it and talk about what makes you distinct and talk about your approach and your method and your signature process and how that gets your clients results. These things infuse trust and infuse credibility. And if you show up with a tried and tested process and a signature methodology, and you confidently lead your clients through it, they will see you as an expert. Ideally, you have this mapped out beforehand, and it's something you infuse in your brand positioning, your marketing, your messaging, your sales process, and your onboarding. So that timeline you send out at the beginning of the engagement, you want it to frame that in terms of your signature methodology and its steps. You don't want to be in a situation where your client is like, okay, so what do we do next? And you're kind of like, they're like, how do we get the results you promised me? And you're like, I don't really know, right? Whatever they hired you for your zone of expertise, that's where you need to have the answers. At the same time, you want to be flexible to your clients' needs, and you want to be honest and transparent. So you want to collaborate with them to make your signature process work with their unique organization. A big one might be how you get buy-in and approval from their leadership. You want to be able to propose an approach and work with them to finalize it, because they're going to know their company leadership best and how to get approval best. You don't have to be an expert in everything. You don't have to have every answer. Like Sasha, if they hired you for organizational management and they asked you a question about something totally unrelated, like, you don't need to know the answer. You don't need to make one up. Like, it's okay not to have that answer. It's okay to co-create with your client. The important thing is to feel confident in your skills, in your services, and your processes, and confidently lead them through that. You also want to exude that confidence and leadership in your area of expertise and in your signature process and your messaging. We're going to talk about how to do that in different modules, but you want to be showcasing that in your content and your marketing to increase your credibility and show your thought leadership, right? Okay, let's talk about turning problems into opportunities and how to tackle problems and issues that might come up with your clients. We already talked a little bit about setting boundaries. So for example, if your client asks you to be hyper responsive or deliver something more quickly than agreed to, or do another round of review, you might see that as a problem. You might think this client is trying to violate the boundaries that I so clearly set. I want you to instead think of it as an opportunity. Everything is negotiable and you always have agency. So if your client says this, you might say something like, I'd be happy to do another round of review. As you know, there were only 2 rounds of included, so I can easily add a 3rd round of review for X dollars, right? I totally understand you want to get this done more quickly than our original timeline. Let me have a look at my schedule and see how I can move things around to prioritize this. I'll get back to you tomorrow with the date we can have this ready and the rush fee, right? I noticed you've been messaging me after work hours. I just wanted to touch base and make sure you know my work hours and when I'm available to respond. I don't typically respond to work messages after 5 p.m. However, if this is something you feel you really need to be comfortable, I can monitor emails Tuesdays and Thursday nights until 8 p.m. for X amount of dollars, right? I haven't received payment on our last invoice. Just a friendly reminder that there's a 5% interest charge for every week payment is delayed. Unfortunately, I'll have to stop all work for you until I receive payment. Better yet, get paid up front. But remember, you can always say no. It is always a two-way street. And being part of a leader is proactively communicating and confidently enforcing boundaries. So, one thing I want you guys to do is write out common issues you've encountered with clients. Think about the boundaries you want to set around them, how you're going to lay that out up front, and how you want to respond if and when those boundaries are tested, okay? And please feel free to be dropping, oh, I see some stuff in the chat. Sheena said, this makes me so happy because that's exactly where I was a few months ago before I got my shit together. Oh my God, nice. I remember when one of my clients told me, thought it would be more economical. When I didn't budge, he hired me at my full rate and is trying to get me on retainer at that rate. All because I was confident and didn't waver. Yes, I love these examples. These are so great. This is so perfect. This is exactly what we're talking about. And Latoya, please feel free also to drop questions in our Slack channel as I'm going through the content. And as soon as we're done teaching, we'll answer questions and we'll do some coaching. Okay, next, in serving premium clients with confidence, I want to talk about some best practices you can use during your client engagement. So working with service-based entrepreneurs, of course, there are a ton of different models for how you work with your clients. So maybe not cover every iteration here, but if you have a specific question, I'll be happy to answer it. I do want to share a few best practices that you might find helpful or be able to apply to how you work with your clients. We talked already about developing your signature process. You might, for example, prefer not to have a lot of calls on your calendar and work asynchronously with your clients. But depending on the kind of work you do, you might find that a weekly call with your client can be really helpful for keeping things running smoothly on both ends. If you do a weekly call, and for all calls you do, I highly recommend creating an agenda for the call and sharing it 24 hours beforehand. It is such a simple step, but it makes clients feel like you're really on top of things. They can see what they might need to follow up on before the call and come to the call with answers and much more prepared. And without a regular check-in, things can kind of more easily slip. Tensions can kind of more easily build up. And if you have that regular touch point, it really enables you to build a relationship with them. And then after the call, I strongly recommend sending a written email, recapping key decisions and recapping action items. Spell out what they're responsible for by what date and what you're responsible for by what date. And this helps hold everybody accountable. So much like having things spelled out in the beginning of your relationship, this makes it super easy to refer back to things if people miss a deadline, if things are taking longer than expected, and if they want something faster, you can easily show them why things are the way they are, right? Another fun fact from the consulting world, the best time to get your client to rehire you is while you're working with them. It's not at the end of the engagement, it's while you're working with them. So don't wait until the very end of your contract to ask them to re-sign. And make sure you're showing your value throughout the contract and looking for opportunities to expand your work together. So ideally, you want to be able to regularly share and highlight the difference that you're making for your client. Like, for example, if you're a social media manager, you might share a monthly report with account growth, engagement, conversions, and some of the best comments that people share, just to show your value and demonstrate that. If you're a mindset coach, you might take the opportunity on every call to point out your client's growth and celebrate them. Like, oh my gosh, when we first started working together 6 months ago, you never would have done that. Like, this is such a big deal, right? Consistently pointing out the difference that you're making for people and the value that you're adding. Another thing you might want to make clear, and it's okay to slip in, is how much effort you're putting in for your client. So, for example, if they ask for something last minute and you stayed up all night doing it, it's okay to like slide that in there. But what you don't want to do is mention other clients because they don't care. They want to feel like they're the only client in the world, right? And you just want to show them that you're going above and beyond for them and providing a ton of value. Okay, we're almost done, guys. Just like onboarding is really important, offboarding is really important. So before ending the contract, look for opportunities to get rehired. If that doesn't happen before the end of the contract, consider setting up a call in the future so you can reconnect and revisit working together. If they say, I'd love to work with you again, but we don't have the budget right now, you can ask them, when is the next budget approval? And let's set up a call before that, right? While they're still your client. Ask them those questions. Ask all your clients for feedback and for testimonials. It's a really good opportunity to grow, to see how you can do better. And testimonials, obviously, I don't have to tell you guys how key those are. For testimonials, I strongly encourage you to do a live interview. Depending on your industry, you may want to publish the testimonial as a video, but even if you don't publish it, interviewing them live is gonna get you a much better testimonial than asking them to write one themselves or sending them a questionnaire, because you get the opportunity to ask them specific questions and follow up. Most people do not know how to write a good testimonial. They don't know what you're looking for. They are busy and they don't have a lot of time. So they're probably not gonna put a lot of effort into a questionnaire or into writing you something. But if they're face-to-face with you, they're gonna be much more engaged and more likely to give you a full answer that puts you in a great light. So you can record it, you can pop it in an audio transcription app, and you can just edit it down to get a really good testimonial. Another really important thing you want to do is specifically ask your client for referrals and even incentivize that, right? They might love working with you, but people are busy and you're not going to be their first priority. But if you specifically ask them for referrals, and better yet, if you incentivize that, they're going to be much more likely to send people your way. You also want to put thought into how you're staying in touch with past clients and maintaining those relationships, because maybe they can't rehire you right now, but maybe in 2 years they've changed jobs and they'll want to. Or maybe they'll see your posts on LinkedIn all the time and you'll be top of mind for them. And so when someone else comes to them saying, hey, do you know anyone who does XYZ? You're the first person they think of and want to refer people to. Some business owners use a CRM, a client relationship manager, to set themselves reminders to reach out to past clients. You probably don't need this right now. Like, you can literally use a Google Sheet, you can use a calendar reminder, you can even like pre-schedule emails in Gmail to go out like 3 months from now. You might have them on an email list and send them a regular newsletter. You might follow them on social media and regularly comment on their posts. It doesn't have to be business related. Like, even if like you're like, oh my God, your dog is so cute, right? Like, that is still gonna keep you top of mind for them. However it feels good to you, you wanna have ways to maintain those relationships and stay top of mind. So for your homework here, I want you guys to make a list of past clients. Are you in touch with them? Do you have testimonials from them? If not, reach back out, get back in touch, follow them on social media, ask for a call, ask them for a testimonial, and think about how you wanna stay in touch with them and stay top of mind with them. So you guys have the power to turn a lot of clients into premium clients. And if you follow the tips that I shared today and show up with confidence and show up as a leader, clients are gonna see you as that expert leader too. They're gonna trust your process more, respect you more, and value you more, and they are gonna be better clients as a result of your leadership. Whew, okay, my gosh, so much content. We are now done with the content portion